We're now days into the war on Iran, and reports are emerging that the US-Israeli strategy is shifting, not towards peace, but apparently to armed ethnic insurrection and possible civil war. Multiple media reports based on intelligence sources suggest the CIA is arming Iranian Kurdish separatist groups based in the mountains of northern Iraq and western Iran. They say those forces are preparing to launch a ground attack, possibly within days. Observers say there's signs something is planned. In February, Iranian Kurdish opposition parties announced a new political alliance to unify their efforts against the Islamic Republic. And in the past 72 hours, US and Israeli forces have targeted Iranian military positions repeatedly in western Iran. Analysts say this could pave the way for a Kurdish advance. Iran itself has been bombing Kurdish positions in Iraq. These Kurdish forces have thousands of fighters who are opposed to the Islamic Republic and want to create an independent Kurdish state. On Sunday, US President Donald Trump also spoke to Iraq's Kurdish leaders about the war and what could come next. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio has also indicated the war will intensify.
You're going to really begin to perceive a change in the scope and in the intensity of these attacks as, frankly, the two most powerful air forces in the world take apart this terroristic regime.
Meanwhile, US officials coming out of a classified briefing with the Trump administration on Tuesday expressed disbelief US ground forces may be involved in this next phase.
I am more fearful than ever after this briefing that we may be putting boots on the ground.
So what's the point of all this? Defense analysts say there are several outcomes. An insurrection would help occupy Iran's armed forces in the northwest. It could jumpstart an uprising from Iranians in major cities to take advantage of the chaos and overthrow the Islamic Republic. It could also lead to the breakup of Iran. There are also Baluch separatists who operate along Iran's border with Pakistan. Since last June, Tehran and Islamabad have increased cooperation to combat armed groups there. Both countries have reported multiple regional actors, including Israel, are trying to exploit the legitimate grievances of this minority group for their own strategic objectives. So far in this conflict, there have been no popular protests to overthrow the Islamic Republic, nor public defections from the armed forces. Defense analysts say Iran is showing, despite infrastructure losses, that it may be able to fight a protracted war and exhaust US resources, and those of their allies, including Israel.
They are producing, by some estimates, over 100 of these missiles a month. Compare that to the 6 or 7 interceptors that can be built a month.
It's important to note that Iran is not a fragmented or weak state, despite the fact that around 40% of Iran's population hail from diverse ethnic groups. Iranians are very nationalistic, and that's why many analysts conclude ethnic uprisings won't get widespread support among the public, even from those opposed to the Islamic Republic. They say the only certainty here is more Iranian blood spilled and two nuclear powers pulling the strings.